Thank you for being at the Science Center today. We're here for a rather interesting briefing. In a way, I guess it's a launch. You'll be the first group of people hearing more details about this competition called CREATE2010. And it's the first time that we're having it here. So you'll be, I guess, a very special group, a pioneer group for this, in this case you can consider yourself, and that you'll be the carrier of the news about this competition. The Science Center is quite proud to be able to work with this very new group of entrepreneurs who had sort of got together, interested engineers in their own rights, okay, with a lot of passion to promote the possibilities that's open in the engineering field. And what happened is that after today, we'll be giving the schools, and I assume you, with enough information for you to go by and start dreaming of things that you think you can contribute towards making a better future. All right? Perhaps to just give you a little bit more detail about the CREATE 2010 competition, I'll introduce you to Mr. Peter Moss. Peter?
Hello, thank you very, very much, everybody, each and every one of you, to teachers and students alike. I think it's quite appropriate that we are at the Science Centre, just why we introduce you to CREATE 2010. Because I think the role of the Science Centre is really to inspire people about what we have actually done as people over the years, and particularly when you see individuals like Da Vinci and the exhibition, which I don't know whether any of you have had the opportunity to see, but one of the really, really smart people, along with many other smart people who've really changed the way in which our world works. What we'd like to do is throw a challenge out, and we are very conscious that you're all very busy, busy with studies and everything else, but we'd hope maybe we can make it interesting, exciting, and win-win-win enough for everybody to maybe kind of take a little bit of your time. This particular event, CREATE 2010, this is the first year that this is going to happen, and we trust there will be many more of them to come. And it is brought to you, as it says, by the creators of tomorrow, who I know is familiar to everyone, unlike BMW, of course, who you probably have never heard of. So, so maybe with that said, I'll tell you a little bit more about us, who are the creators of tomorrow. It's a bunch of people within Singapore who have got together, and these being just some of them, they come from different companies, different organizations, from the likes of Linden Labs, who are the people who are developing Second Life, all those people who are trying to build new worlds. We have representatives from Google, from Movie, people who are really beginning to take media to a very different level and see how the world can work in different in different ways from the way in which we can communicate. We have people from SIA, we have a guy who spends his days messing around with an A380, and then he spends a few minutes with us every now and again. And not represented here because we didn't have a photograph at the time, but we've got one of our first female engineer from ExxonMobil, who's very, very cool, who's joined us, and also representatives from BMW and Susan, who's a really, really interesting person who's into sustainable and green packaging solutions, and generally just people who are really looking at smart ways of doing things differently. So what is the point? What are we doing, and why are we doing anything? Well, this started from a very simple question, which was, why aren't there more engineers? Why aren't there more people considering engineering as a career and of taking it further? And we asked ourselves the question because we're all engineers in one way or another. I'm kind of an ex-engineer, but now I'm in communications, but I'm in digital communications. communications, so I suppose we look at things in a very different way and look at engineering communications differently. But really, we thought, I wonder what's wrong with engineering and why maybe it doesn't seem as attractive as, say, going into finance or going into law or going into many other professions. Because engineering is really, the whole field is where all the magic happens. Engineering, the people who are in engineering change everything, you know. There are some interesting quotes, actually, that, you know, when the earth was the earth and there were trees and there were fields and there were mountains and there were valleys and there was little else. So everything you see, from the seat to the bridge to the building to the pen to the plane to the car to the computer to the iPod, these have all been created and they've all been invented by engineers in one form or another. And what we wanted to do was to kind of hopefully get people a little bit more excited and a little bit more involved in engineering in itself. And what that is really about, which is, it's all about people having brilliant ideas that create things. That really create things. The engineers of this world are the real-life magicians. You know, things don't suddenly appear from anywhere. They are thought about and they are created by people who really know what they're doing. Engineers, very interesting people. And yet, when people think about engineering, they maybe think more about people in hard plastic hats and oily fingers and underneath cars and things like this, and not about the people who actually shape BMW loudspeaker systems. They maybe don't think about the way in which, like, nanotechnology is driving, you know, other areas, not only from like medicine, but from like from computing, and different ways in which you know, we start to use all of these technologies. And I think they tend to think about it maybe in kind of one way. So what we want to do is really kind of look at this image of an engineer and hopefully attempt to change it from, you know, the person who's doing a really good job in a hard hat. But, you know, today's engineers are more like rock stars. You know, this is somebody at Apple who's an electronics engineer. And the things that they are now doing, which are incredibly exciting. And they're also getting paid incredible amounts of money to have lots of really good ideas and have a lot of fun in doing so. So we thought that was really interesting. And more importantly, we believe that there are a lot of people out there who have ideas. And we wanted to really see whether that was true, but not just ask people to contribute ideas, but also, you know, try and change that perception that engineering is not really about grabbing a spanner or a wrench. You know, this is really about having ideas and creating some magic. Now, as part of what we do, we have a site up already called UCreateChange. And that's really a forum where you can get together and you can talk about ideas and you can talk to people like me, if you so wish, and other people in different areas about the things that you feel are important. What we'd like to talk about today is a specific challenge which has come from this, which is CREATE2010.